The following is a presentation of 912 Sports. Welcome to On Air with 912 Sports, your number one source for high school sports. With Sean Smoke, Kevin Price, and Robbie Ross. On Air with 912 Sports is brought to you by Coastal Pines Technical College. Go Coastal. Prime South Bank. Find your prime. Robbie Robertson Ford, because Fords are cheaper in the swamp. Gibson Animal Clinic, practical solutions with limited fees. Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, the region's best orthopedic care. And Kim Smoke, licensed realtor with Crossway Realty.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robertson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
The single A and double A state champions were forced away today for their title. Hello, everybody. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and it was a long and late night at J.I. Clemens Field, home of the Georgia Southern Eagles for the GHSA Baseball Championships on Tuesday. Tuesday started out great. Game one for the double A state championship between the Vidalia Indians and the Thomasville Bulldogs, and it was all Vidalia in game one. The Vidalia Indians run-ruled the Thomasville Bulldogs 14-4 in 5 innings there in game one. Game two had just the inverse. The Thomasville Bulldogs kind of dominated game two. Thomasville comes away winners in that game by a score of 10-3. So that forced that game three to be scheduled there for Wednesday. That brought us to the single A state championship. So first pitch for game one of the single A state championship was thrown about 8:30 on Tuesday evening. But boy, for the fans that stuck around, they got a great game. It was a fantastic high school baseball game. Basically, 5 different lead changes. Any team could have won it. Charlton County went into the top of the 7th, having to score 2 runs to tie. Wound up putting a 3 spot on the board, taking a 1-run lead. Metter comes to bat in the bottom of the 7th, having to get 1 to tie it. They were able to get 2 to push the victory to 8-7 there, but just a great back-and-forth baseball game. That forced everybody to come back on Wednesday. So Wednesday started out great for the 912 as the Vidalia Indians against Thomasville, and it was all Vidalia. They brought their bats, they brought their pitching, and come away winners 7-0 in that game 3 there. But what they did was able to put a 3 spot on the board in the bottom of the first inning, and then come back in the 5th inning and put a 4 spot on the board to win that game 7-0. So congratulations to the Vidalia Indians on being the AA state champions here in the state of Georgia for baseball. That moved us to the single A game, and it was a great baseball game. Real big pitching duel. One of those games where not a run was scored in that game until the 6th inning. And you just kind of felt with both of these pitchers dominating this game that it was going to come down to a mistake, and that's exactly what happened. Charlton committed a big error there in the 6th inning, allowed Metter to get that 1 run across, and they took the 1-0 lead, come back in the top of the 7th inning, put another 2 runs across to win that game 3-0. So tough break there for the Charlton County Indians. Played well enough to win game 1 on Tuesday night. Didn't happen for them. Played well enough to win game 2 there on Wednesday. Just didn't happen for them. So congratulations to the Metter Tigers as they are back-to-back state champions there in single A. So congratulations to those guys as they win it all. But hey, let's tell everybody about all the other state champions in the state of Georgia. In 7A, we had Woodstock, who defeated Etowah. In 6A, you had Pope, who defeated Altoona. 5A, you had Loganville, who defeated Cartersville. And then in 4A, you had North Oconee beating LaGrange. In 3A, Pike beats Redan. And in 1A, you've got 1A private, you had Wesleyan defeating North Cobb Christian. So congratulations to all the state champions here in the state of Georgia for baseball. But that's going to wrap up the 2022 season. And if you guys will hang around, we'll be right back here with more with On Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Call on us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
Welcome, sports fans, and thanks for watching On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Sean Smoke, publisher of 912 Sports, and we're joined now by the head coach of the Appleton County Pirates, Coach Jordan Willis. Coach, how you doing this morning, buddy?
Doing pretty good, man. It's just a Monday.
Just a Monday. I appreciate you guys coming on and being a part of the show here this week. Want to go back to last week and talk a little bit about the game against West Lawrence, the West Lawrence Raiders, Coach. But before we get to that, let's talk a little bit about what you guys did once the season was over. Coach, you guys coming off a Final Four appearance, big-time football being played over there in Baxley. Made it, like I said, all the way to the Final Four. Didn't get to the ultimate goal that you wanted, but still just a fantastic job of getting those guys there to the Final Four. But talk a little bit about what you guys have been doing since January, since the season ended.
Just trying to develop players. Graduated a really big senior class, really talented. Trying to change their mindset, mentally, trying to change their bodies physically. And, it's kind of still a learning phase for me. It's year one, just surviving, and now trying to focus on, things we felt like we fell short at, and develop players and develop depth and develop the mindset that we feel like we need here to be competitive.
Yeah, Coach. I mean, a lot of people forget this. Last year was your first year, as head coach over there, and you guys go all the way to the Final Four. How do you follow up that in your sophomore coaching season?
We better do better than that. I don't think people around here are very patient. So we like that expectation, and we got to figure out a way to meet it.
Right. Well, Coach, you guys lose a bunch of players. Like you said, graduated a big senior class. 3 guys that come to mind that were on our All 912 Sports team: Darius Smith, Jamori Wright, Toby Taylor. So talk a little bit about how those shoes are going to get filled with this class that's coming up for this 2022 season.
I don't think you ever replace guys. Darius and Toby were 2 of our dudes, great players, good leaders, vocal in the locker room, really bought into what we were trying to do, in that short amount of time. But we kind of split up some guys during spring and let some guys do multiple things and try to develop some depth because, like you said, we graduated, 17 guys. Not only talented, but a big class that had role players in it as well. And those guys were kind of like losing your kids, man. I played most of those guys on the defense as sophomores. Malik played, Talon played, Jamari played in the secondary, Darius has played DN for 3 years, Toby's played for 3 years. And, just using spring to try to figure out how to replace that production, because those guys are gone and we wish them all the best, but man, I miss them, I miss them. Have to answer some questions quick.
Right. Well, Coach, I know the recruiting cycle is in full swing right now. I know you've had a lot of coaches coming through the doors. The first name to come to mind, of course, is Jalen Johnson, big running back over there. Everybody in the country's, pretty much offered this kid. But you got some other kids that are definitely being recruited, already.
Right. It's been busy. Those guys come through about the time you're trying to get ready for practice, and you want to find time, to keep your hands on your kids, do your job, with the school, and then also have time to sit down and put the paperwork in those guys' hands that they need. But it's been nice for them to be back on campus and be able to come in and see our kids move around and really, we had everybody come through. I think we had 60-something coaches over the last couple of weeks come through, sometimes 2, 3 at a time, waiting outside the office for another guy to get done. But it's been exciting. We've had a bunch of offers. We don't post a bunch of that stuff anymore because, we're kind of focused on ourselves. But I think we had, 8 or 10 kids get offers, or even some of our seniors that didn't sign on signing day. We plan on signing 2 more of them this week on Wednesday that we've been able to find them a place to play. But, just getting the exposure is good. It's kind of a create more work for yourself type thing, but our kids deserve it. And, we talk to them all the time about, the standard is the standard and it doesn't change, but it can create value for yourself. And we've got a lot of kids that have been able to do that, especially over these last few weeks.
Right. Well, Coach, you guys, GHSA allows teams like yourself to either do a spring game or either play 2 scrimmages in the fall. You guys opted to do the spring. What went into that decision, and what advantage does that give you going into the 2022 season?
Being year 2, we felt like, after the overhaul of the offense last year, we weren't interested in playing a spring game if we weren't ready. And we thought it would be better for us this year to play a spring game, and getting to play somebody else is always great. Get to take your kids on the road, get to see other people's facilities, not just us as a team, but our county, our school administration, our Board of Education. And West Lawrence has as nice a facility as I've played in. It's even nicer than the last time I went over there. New turf, beautiful field, big locker rooms, everything's bricked up. But it was a good idea now, but 2 weeks leading up to it, with us having all those questions in spring ball, and then also on top of that having to prepare for a quad A opponent, we were a little worried. But we feel like we answered a lot of the questions we had Friday night, and most importantly, I think we came out of there healthy. So, as a head coach, that's why I lose all this, and this is getting great. Everybody has an expectation, but everybody's, we live in a microwave society. So everybody's saying, who you going to play and are you going to win Friday night? And our thing is we want to develop during the spring. We want to figure out what guys can do to contribute. And most importantly, our job hangs in the balance of whether or not your players stay healthy or not. And we were able to come out healthy, and we were able to answer some questions. So all in all, it worked out really well for us.
Right. Well, Coach, you guys come away winners over on the road, West Lawrence, 42-0. So I don't really know to start talking about the offense first or the defense first, because both of them played pretty well. You pitched a shutout on the defensive side of the ball, and on the offensive side of the ball, you hung 42 points on the board. So let's start alphabetically. We'll go defense first, and talk a little bit about how those guys were able to keep West Lawrence off the scoreboard.
We were able to prepare for them a little bit. They do some things that a little bit unorthodox from what we normally see, and we were able to play pretty well. There's a lot of things that we did wrong, but there were some things we did well. Really pleased with our play in the secondary. We graduated 3 of those guys that are going on to play college football that, like I mentioned earlier, were 2-3-year starters. So we had some babies out there running around, and we were able to pick off a couple balls. Thought we could have picked a couple more that we got our hands on. So I was really, really proud of that, breaking in a new defensive backs coach. So he's only been here 9 days, commuting back and forth. So I was really proud of that, and really proud of the depth that we had on defense, because we held some guys out that were a little bit banged up. We weren't going to juice them out there for a scrimmage, but we've got some really good players that didn't play in that game. So, the guys that went out there and played really performed well. And I think there's always going to be something to clean up. But the bottom line is we played well, we played hard, forced a few turnovers, and, coming away from it, I guess I'm happy. We did shut them out, but I know once we cut on that film, there's going to be some things to clean up, and we've got to get more physical. I don't think anybody's ever where they want to be from a physicality standpoint, but that's something that we're highlighting and putting tremendous amount of time in over the summer.
Right. Well, let's look over to the offensive side of the ball. You guys were able to score 42 points. You talked about installing the new offense last year. I'm assuming it's just carrying over into this year, and the kids are a little bit more familiar with the system. Right,
and we're able to do a little bit more. We stayed in our base offense. We didn't do anything, other than, kind of our base plays Friday night, but really had a lot of guys step up, especially at those receiver and skill positions. We felt good about, it's kind of a weird format with the plays being numbered. The first drive of the game, I think we drive it down to the 5 and got 1st and goal, but only have one chance to get it in the end zone because of the format. So hated to leave points on the field. But, got to find a way to score when you get down there, even if you've only got one shot at it. But, I was pleased with it. We had some drops, but they were new guys or young guys, but we had some returning guys catch the ball really well, had some new guys do some things in space with it. And, we're not very fast, so it's very important for us to get lined up and play with leverage and play hard offensively, but really pleased with what we did on the perimeter. Quarterback, of course, is coming back his second year. He threw the ball really well, and very, very new offensive line that I thought, handled their first start together, pretty well. Saw some bad, but saw a lot of good as well.
Right. Well, again, 42-0, Coach. Got to be happy with those numbers. Like I said, scoring on offense, holding shutting them out over there on the defensive side of the ball. But let's talk about the summer, Coach. What's up next for the Appleton County Pirates? I know you've got 2 full months ahead of you here, trying to get better for that 2022 season. So, what's on the slate there for the Appleton County Pirates?
Getting people to understand. Like I'm sure every coach is doing in South Georgia, that when school's out, football's not over, communicating with kids, communicating with parents. We plan on going 5 days a week in June. We'll start on June 6th, so we'll get 20 straight days in, and then we'll come to the second off week, and then we'll start 5 days a week in July. But, understanding that 40-day body of work is what's going to make or break our season. Spring don't matter. The game's already over. It's Monday morning. I'm meeting with mad parents and that kind of stuff. So we've got to take whatever we learn from that scrimmage and build on it or correct it. And I think the time during the summer, the things that we know we need to fix and work on, and some concerns we had during the off season, we've got to maximize our time and build our kids. Prep our kids for what it takes to play like last year, a 14-game season. Football's a long time and it's a grind. And I think the summer is the time when you can really get ahead and kind of get going and go ahead and set the table, so to speak, to have a successful season and be able to sustain, that 14-game, 16-week deal like we were in last year.
Exactly. Well, Coach, is there OTAs in the future for you guys? 7-on-7s? What are you guys going to be? Are you going to be doing any of those kind of camps? And if so, what are y'all going to focus on?
We haven't scheduled a bunch, but we will go throw. We're going to throw in the Ware deal in mid-June. We're going to go up to Bluffton and throw in their tournament later on in June. And we don't do a bunch of big team OTAs. I did some of that last year, and again. I don't know how to, you'd love to go out there and blood and guts it every day, but when you get guys hurt or get guys banged up in the summer, they don't have that in your contract, whether they're going to fire you or not because you had 2 guys roll their ankle in an OTA. But we are going to do some of that, but I'm going to be a little bit more careful of who we do it against. We were at an OTA last year and it got a little chippy, and we had a team just running ISO with 2 D linemen in the backfield right at our 2 linebackers, and guys get submarine and cut and wearing shorts and girdles, and I'm just like, man, come on, So that's really what I'm concerned about is when you go to those OTAs and you're just running team and team and team and team and team, and but we're going to do some of it, but we're gonna try to pro and con it as best we can. We do have a couple teams that'll come to us just one-on-one. We'll lift together, compete in the weight room a little bit, then we'll throw a little bit, then we'll work out a little bit together. But still not over that fear of going out there and playing 6 or 7 different offenses in one day, and your kids not being ready for that, especially when it's full pads. That's kind of a tough thing to do when you go without pads all summer, and then you say, hey, put them on. We're gonna go play Glen Academy in an OTA, and after Glen you get Ware and coffee. That's our numbers aren't built for that kind of thing right now. But I think there's some good in it, but I think you can definitely do it too much. And like I said, at Appling, our biggest thing since I've had this job is I want to focus on Appling and get all our problems cleaned up and get us running efficiently. And I think that these 40 days are a great chance to do that.
Good deal. Well, Coach, you're going to get a little bit different region this year. Appling dropped down to AA from AAA from last year, but really a lot of the same cast of characters are coming down with you guys. I mean, you still got Tatton in your region, still got Pierce in your region, still got Brantley in your region, but you get some new guys thrown in the mix with Toombs and Vidalia, and then I believe there's one other team in that region now. Who am I missing? Windsor Forest. Yeah, Windsor Forest. So a big AA region there. But talk a little bit about that region and what I mean. We know it's still going to probably be Appleton and Pierce at the top, but still a lot of cast of characters coming in with Vidalia and Toombs and some of these other guys. So talk a little bit about the new region.
We're excited about it, mainly because of gates. I think us and Toombs is going to be a good gate. I think Appling Vidalia is going to be a good gate. Tacknell is very locale to us. Obviously, Pierce is going to be a great gate. And, regardless of this stuff changes all the time. But we feel good about playing people that are around us. Last year was very, very hard to schedule games.
Right.
I was pulling my hair out, panicking. This year's kind of been was the same deal. We got lucky and were able to buy out a couple out-of-state teams. But it's just nice to play people where you don't have an hour and a half bus ride. Your kids know each other. People are going to come. The same teams they play, around in their middle school league. I just think that's good for the sport. And I think it's good for us being able to sustain and build the funding that we need to fund because we operate off our gate. If our gate's bad, there's things we can't do. If our gate's good, there's things that our program needs that we can purchase and we can provide for our kids. And, I don't think it's going to be an easy region. Everybody's kind of saying, well, y'all are dropping down to AA, everything's okay. Well, see, so is Pierce. I can remember in the early 2000s when I was in high school, nobody wanted to play Vidalia.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a good football region. I think it's going to be an even better baseball region. And I think there's going to be a lot of gate revenue generated, from us playing these people in our area, which all that money, we're able to put back in our program and invest it in our kids.
Exactly. And Coach, your non-region schedule is not going to be any easier. See, you got Ware County. You're going to open the season with Ware County, big 5A program from over here. Aiken, South Carolina. Wayne County's going to stay in the mix. So going to get thrown to the wolves right out of the gate.
That's a fact. There's a little school down in Ocilla called Irwin County that we're scrimmaging before Ware too. They know how to win a few games down there as well. Somebody asked me the other day, how's Irwin? I said, I don't know, but I think they played in the last 5 state championships in a row, it seems like. I think same way with Ware, a lot of respect for what they're doing, a lot of respect for Coach Strickland. And, we're definitely worried about that one, but I think it's one of those things early on that we get to answer some questions, and then we're doing a 2-year deal with them, so I think they're going to come over here and pack our place out, and again generate a lot of revenue for us. And I may not be saying that about 10 o'clock that night, but that's a big boost for us. But being able to play teams like Ware, being able to play teams like Irwin, and then I think that's what you need to do. We can fluff that thing up and win 10, 12 games, but I don't think that does your kids any good, and I don't think that gets you prepared for what we talk about. And we want to be a state championship contender. And then when we learn how to contend for it, we hopefully can grow into winning it. But I don't think that stuff comes out of prairie dust and pixie sticks, So I think Ware's going to educate us one way or the other, and so will Irwin. Early on what we need to do, what we need to fix, what we're good at, what we're not good at.
Well, Coach, it's going to be a great season. It'll be here before we know it. Appreciate your time today telling us a little bit about the Appling County Pirates. Good luck through over the summer. Like I said, keep everybody healthy, and we'll definitely catch up with you back before the football season starts and as we get ready for the 2022 season.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you and appreciate what 912 does, getting all our kids' names out there.
All right, buddy. That's Coach Jordan Mullis, head coach of the Appling County Pirates. We'll be right back here after these messages.
High schoolers, did you know that you can get a head start on your college career and save money at the same time through dual enrollment at Coastal Pines Technical College? Dual enrollment is open to high school juniors and seniors, tuition free. Talk to your high school counselor or visit coastalpines.edu for more information. Coastal Pines Technical College, an equal opportunity institution. Go Coastal.
It makes sense Prime South Bank would have a great mobile app. Nobody is as mobile as our customers. For a century, they've chased dreams, followed their hearts, took the road less taken, made a new path, taken leaps of faith. At Prime South, offering the latest digital banking, secure pay apps, and new online lending is part of a mobile tradition that goes way back. Life is mobile. So is Prime South. Find your Prime. Member FDIC.
Play it loud and rev it up. Robbie Robinson's got trucks built for tough.
Make your way to Robbie Robertson Ford in Waycross, where the deals are bigger than ever. Looking for a stylish midsize car, a spacious SUV, or a truck that performs at work and play? Robbie Robertson wants your vehicle and is paying top dollar. Now is the time to buy. Fords are cheaper in the swamp.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to On Air with 912 Sports. I'm Kevin Price. As you can see, we're now joined by Lance Helton, head coach of the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets. Of course, Jeff Davis, like a lot of teams around Georgia, including here in South Georgia, just wrapping up spring practice as another school year ends, and everybody in the football world already long has been working on the 2022 season. But Coach Helton, thanks for being with us here again tonight, and it's kind of crazy that we're already talking football again and talking about the 2022 season. Doesn't seem like all that long ago we were just wrapping up the 2021 season.
Well, I'm excited to be talking about it, Kevin. When you're like me and you can't fish and you ain't good at hunting and you suck at golf, I ain't much rather I be talking about than the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets this evening.
So you're ready for football to start, all right?
That's right.
Well, Coach, let's just jump right in and let's really talk about the off season in general before we really get down to spring practice in the last couple of weeks for you guys. Of course, you finished up spring practice with a game against Dublin, and we'll certainly talk about that. But just walk us through the off season. Obviously, you guys are coming off a 10-2 season in 2021. Had a tough matchup against Gunter Stockton and Raven County in the second round of the playoffs. That's just the way the things fell for you. But take us back to going into the offseason, getting back in the weight room, maybe what you guys were looking to accomplish and how things have kind of gone for you.
Well, for us, Kevin, it was an offseason where we tried to grow. We've been really blessed in this 5-year run to win our share of games. We've lost some that I feel like we shouldn't have as well. But there's been for 5 years a group of kids that have kind of led us on this journey. And this was kind of the last leg of those kids in this senior class. We had a big senior class that we just got through playing with, had 22 kids in it, and 20 or 22 starters were in that class. So for us, it's been about evaluation. Yes, we've got some new faces, but we've tried to preach that, hey, we're the same Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets. The colors ain't bled and nothing's changed outside of the faces. For us, it's more about making sure we've established firm roots in our culture of winning and winning our way, trying to hang around and, kind of try to win games in the fourth quarter. And you do that through your off-season conditioning program. I've been so proud of the two coaches that are running that for us. That's our defensive coordinator, Jay Cravey, and our wingbacks coach, Coach Justin Kilpatrick. They've done a great job of, servicing our dual sport athletes, Kevin, but at the same time, keeping the main thing in that weight room and making sure that Jeff Davis football is primed and ready. And the last 2 weeks have been a great indication of that as we, like you said, just wrapped up spring with a good contest against a really good Dublin football team last night.
And Coach, kind of along that line, I don't know if people are familiar with the rules, but right now in the Georgia High School Association, you can either do spring practice and have a game like you did, or maybe even an inter-squad game. But the bottom line is you can have spring practice, or you can elect not to have spring practice. And when you get down to the preseason part of the season, you can have 2 scrimmages instead of just the one. So you guys, of course, take the spring practice approach. I'm not sure what the breakdown is around the state of how many teams do the spring practice versus how many teams do the 2 scrimmages. I know there are some teams that we cover here in South Georgia that are doing the 2 scrimmage route. But
it sounds like for your team, particularly with all the new faces and everything, it was important to maybe go ahead and get them out on that practice field as soon as you could, instead of just waiting until the summertime to start doing a lot of the stuff that you guys, want to get done.
It was, Kevin. I'll tell you why. Assistant coach attrition is something that happens in this state. And we had some new faces join our staff this offseason. And with this large crop of new kids within our program, we wanted to get football on their minds fairly early. We want, when they get out of the bed right now, when they put their feet on the ground, we want them to think of the Lord and Savior, think of their family. We want the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets to be right there chasing third place now. Okay. So, that's been important for us, and it's been huge for our community too. You know this, and these little towns like Hazelhurst, high school athletics is the lifeblood of this place, and it's great. It's great to be at spring practice, Kevin, and have cars parked against the fence row watching practice, and it's important for our kids to understand their place in our community. Football takes care of itself. Yes, we're going to focus on blocking and tackling, but we want to understand what exactly football means in Jeff Davis County. And it primes us up for a summer where, look, now we're going to have to put some sweat equity in to give ourselves a fighting chance. And I look at spring practice like this for us this year. It's kind of like that initial dealing of a deck of cards. We see what we got, and now we can reshuffle our deck to make sure we got the hand we need. And that thing alters from year to year, Kevin, depending on where you're at injury-wise, secondary sport-wise in the spring and things of that nature. But we felt that spring practice was imperative for us to get our faces, our hands, and our hearts on our kids, and let's start getting this thing, wound back up and be ready to go.
Well, Coach, perfect lead into the next question. I mean, when spring started, I'm sure you had some goals, and that was probably putting people in the right places, see who could block and tackle, and see who could come out of that weight room and maybe shine when the lights were on, even though I assume you were practicing in daylight other than your spring game the other night. Right. That might even been played under sunshine as well. But I felt like you were probably dealt a pretty good hand going in, but how much reshuffling are you going to have to do after the spring, or do you feel pretty good about things going into the summer?
Well, that's a great question. We're young now. I mean, we still got to pull the pacifiers out of some of these jokers' mouths. You know what I'm saying? The longer I've been at Jeff Davis, man, I got these grays popping up, and I understand why. But I'm excited about the youth aspect of our football team. Youth is a thing that some people look as a negative, but it's also, Kevin, it can be a positive. You know what I mean? Because, look, I look at it like this, man. If they'll bark at you when they're a puppy, they'll bite you when they're a dog. And this spring allowed us to see who was barking and who was biting, per se. So I'm excited about where we're at as a program coming into year 6. And I sit here, I can't believe I say that. It seems like yesterday I just got here. But to be able to go and compete against a program like Dublin in the spring game, which everybody knows how much those guys mean to me. Coach Holmes is like my daddy. And to be honest with you, Kevin, we were very strategic in aligning this spring game because we're able to work on ourselves. With us doing the same things on offense, Kevin, we can kind of focus and make sure Jeff Davis gets better. We don't have to rob Peter to pay Paul to go prepare for an opponent. So we try to keep the main thing as far as blocking, tackling, and alignment. And those things really work well with our program and the Dublin program and our spring game approach. But, like I said, losing 20 out of 22 starters has been something that I think a lot of people are, they got the red caution lights or the lights are flashing to some people. But for us, it reminds me so much, Kevin, of my first year at Jeff Davis in 2017, where, we may be under the radar. We may have to be that snake that pops you from the grass, but that's okay too. It's about making sure this team understands we're the Jeff Davis Yellow Jackets, and we're going to find a way to compete. And that's the most important thing to me.
And Coach, talk about that. Maybe just some of the guys who did stand out, who did have some bite in them this spring, maybe on both sides of the ball. Just some guys that kind of stood out and took the bull by the horns, and maybe already became some leaders on this team for you.
Man, I'm really proud of a guy named Terrence Clemens, who's played a lot of DB for us in his career. He's going to be a senior, and thought he had a really good spring. Our other returner starter was out this spring due to a knee injury that he got at the end of the season. As far as newcomers onto the scene, really proud of a kid named A.J. Hunt, who came out of nowhere, and then also proud of another back we got named Tyrese Hunt that played for us some last year, in a reserve role, and I think he's primed to have a breakout season for us. Kevin, we got to get better on the line of scrimmage. We prided ourselves on that at Jeff Davis, and right now I'm not even sure to call crank, but we're gonna get in here and work on the engine a little bit through the summer and see if we can't get that thing rolling again. But I'm excited, man. I am excited about the newness. Now, look, we may get punched in the mouth. You know what I'm saying? But I'm excited to have a bunch of kids that playing for Jeff Davis means something to them. And to me, it just shows the hard work we put in for 5 years. The belief has changed around our town. So, we've got a tough schedule. I think that you'd be hard-pressed to find, Kevin, anyone that has a tougher schedule in AA, top to bottom. And, it's a recipe that could end up disaster, but hopefully the kitchen is smelling right by the time it kicks off.
Well, let's talk about that. I did have that written down, but I know you got a young team, and they're going to jump right into the fire. And I guess you were the man that put them in that fire, or going to put them in that fire, because I would assume you made the schedule. But you got to be ready to go right out of the gate, because I think it's, if I'm right, it's Charlton, Pierce, Swainsboro, and Metter. And, of course, Swainsboro now being a non-region game with you guys switching regions. But that's one heck of a start, particularly for a young squad.
Yeah, absolutely. And, don't forget the scrimmage we've got with Wilcox County to kick it all off. So, we've got a tall task ahead of us, okay? But the truth is, I think that we're at a point in our program where we need to be tested and we need to play the best. Ric Flair said it, right? If you're going to be the man, you got to beat the man. I think we've got some opponents that are really good. And you're going to learn more through your struggles than you do through, any easy ride in your life. We're going to be handed some struggles throughout the way. For us, it's about playing our style of football. It's about making sure our kids are on the same page, believing with each other. And it's about making sure our team is prepared mentally and mature enough to handle the bumps and the bruises. That may be week to week, but Kevin, that can go quarter to quarter, drive to drive. So for us, we can't focus on 10 games. We got to start right now focusing on Wilcox County, focusing on Jeff Davis in the month of June and July, August, putting your preparation towards Wilcox County. Then we start moving to Charlton. Then we go to Pierce. Then we go. And you got to just work it that way. And for us, we scheduled this thing this way, Kevin, because, in these 5 years, there are some opponents that have played Jeff Davis that to be completely honest with you, right, we may necessarily struggle to play them now. So we are in a different bracket that way, but it's about making sure that our program believes in itself to get there. The one thing about being the new kid on the block, Kevin, is you can catch people by surprise. We wanted to play the Charltons and the Pierces and the Swainsboros and the Metters because historically they've been in the fight for a long time. And if we're trying to get to that upper echelon of things, Kevin, we've got to learn how to get into that fight all day, every day. Turn the light like, Motel 6, right? Leave the light on all the time. And if we can do that, we'll find a way to be competitive in football games and hang around. Now, if we don't, it could be a long year. But what we've got to do is prepare our kids to be mentally tough, and ultimately this is going to make them better husbands and fathers and employees and employers along the way. And it's about more than the game of football. And I with this schedule, my focus is on trying to build men as well. And I think that we've got the tools to do it.
Well, that's a great answer. And, Coach, just talk about that Swainsboro game. I know, obviously, a knockdown drag out last year. There was a 1-point game. I know some controversy there as well. Don't necessarily want to get into all that unless you do, but I guess both of you guys wanted to keep that game on the schedule, even though it is a non-region game.
Yeah, I think that Swainsboro game in many ways has probably been, honest to goodness, kind of our bigger rivalry in my 5 years at Jeff Davis. The thing has gone back and forth year to year, and it goes back to my time at Dublin. You know, Dublin High School plays Swainsboro more than anybody in the state of Georgia. So that game's going to be played yearly, and I think that it helps Swainsboro to play us there. But also it helps us to play somebody who's making semifinal runs, and it helps us to play somebody that, in my opinion, is the front runner to win the state championship in that larger single A class. And once again, if we're going to compare ourselves to somebody, let's compare ourselves to the best. You know, they may punch us in the nose and we may bleed out, Kevin, but what we're able to do is we're able to evaluate ourselves against really good competition and say, okay, if we would have done these things different to compete against them, imagine what we can do with other people. So, yes, I think that rivalry, that game means a lot to a lot of people. And it's a fun game to coach in. Now, it's physical. Golly, it's a 14-round bout year in and year out. And, you know, one thing about it now, we keep the training table in business the next week because everybody's beat up.
The trainer knows to get a good night's sleep the Sunday night before that Monday, right?
That's
well,
right.
Coach, that game the other night against Dublin, I know they've been all over the map classification-wise. They're a big single-A school, I guess you could say, if you will, even though I know the numbers probably put them there. But a 6-0 game doesn't sound like there were a lot of offensive fireworks. I know you run the wing tee. I guess they still do. I think that's what you were talking about with that familiarity. So maybe your defense is ahead of your offense. Is that the case based on that score? I mean, just what's your thoughts coming out of that game?
Well, I'm going to be honest with you. Kevin, that game last night was like the first fire drill of the year in school. I mean, there were just people everywhere. We had a thunderstorm roll up, had to cancel the middle school game at halftime. We held them all in field houses till 8:45. So the format had to change on the fly. Coach Holmes and I got together, and we had to manipulate our format to make sure we got it in. And I thought that both teams did the best that they could with the time and the format that we had to play to get, because here's the deal, okay, we couldn't go reschedule that game. You can't cancel that spring game and go play it in the fall. You know, you got to wait it out and play it because you've already had 9 practices in. So we got on the field at about 8:45 and capped the game at about 10:15. So both of our first units got 2 drives apiece. Our backups got 1 drive apiece, and then our pups got 1 drive apiece. So it was a physical game. Dublin is super talented, and I tell you, you know, Coach Holmes is, in my opinion, he's a first ballot Hall of Famer. He's the real deal. So anytime you can go compete and compare yourself to a program of that, you know, magnitude, it helps you. The great deal about my relationship with Coach Holmes is he's so smart, he can still call me on Saturday morning and tell me what my guys were doing wrong. So I'm able to take notes, and we're going to get back on the drawing board tomorrow and get them better. But it was a great game overall. Fan support was fantastic, like we pride ourselves in at Jeff Davis. And, you know, it was nice to get on the grass and wear that navy and gold again. It's been a while.
Hey, Coach, just two more questions for you real quick. But one is the new region. You're going into a new region. Not to discredit anybody else, but the big fish in that pond is Fitzgerald, the defending Class AA state champion. So if you're going to win that region, you or anybody else probably going to have to go through Fitzgerald to do it.
Oh, there's no doubt. I think that region, I think I saw the AJC voted it the toughest region in AA this year. And, you know, what a good draw, right? But, you know, you look at Fitzgerald and Dodge and the history Cook County has had, the history Worth County has had. You go look at Americus and the rich history that they've had. And Berrien, I think, does as good of a job as anybody. You know, we're going to have to scratch and claw week in and week out to just knock around and try to be a 4 seed, Kevin. And you go look at the attrition we're going to take through our non-region schedule. I mean, we may have to go out there and bubble wrap on Mondays just to make sure we can hang around, you know. But that's what football is. Football is a game of toughness, and it's a battle of wills. And there's no doubt. Once again, we're going to have a chance to go compete against the best in the state. And if it goes our way, great. If it doesn't go our way, we get to go back to the drawing board and figure out how to go compete with the best. And ultimately, if you want to be that, there is no better setting than the setting we're in.
And Coach, this may be a sign of where you are as a football program, growing and getting people involved. But I think I read somewhere this afternoon, getting prepared for this, that you have a new practice facility. Is that correct? So if
yes,
so,
sir.
Kind of talk about that and what all that involves.
Well, I'm really pleased with where we're at facility-wise. My first 5 years, we had to cross a road and 2 fields to get to practice every day. Okay, so it was something that could be challenging at times, but it was something that our kids, in my opinion, had a little time to get their mind right before that whistle started blowing each day. Now, we don't have that luxury now. We're 3 steps and the whistle's blowing and it's on. But it's first class. The field sits right back to the end of our stadium, Kevin. We've got what we call our hog pen, a line of scrimmage practice facility right next to our regulation field on the practice field. And I think for us, it's just about the belief in the program as a whole. And not only for football, we now have a brand new band field, brand new boys and girls soccer field. And it just shows that the commitment that our county has made to not just athletics, but extracurriculars in general, because we're at a time where, Kevin, it's easy for kids now to choose not to participate. And we're at a time where we're scratching and clawing for numbers and participation because we understand what extracurriculars do for young people. And for a school system to go out on a limb and do something to catch the eye of young people and let them know, hey, we're committed to you. I'm not sure you get that everywhere in the state. That's why I'm so proud to be in Southeast Georgia, because I know the commitment that we have in this part. Kudos to Dr. Ropey and Dr. Greer-Smith for their belief in it to get this thing done. But, we are really blessed at Jeff Davis County to have administration that believes, facilities that are first class, and I think we've got kids, right, that are tougher than woodpecker lips, man. They believe in it. They find a way, and that's why I'm so proud to be the football coach, Jeff Davis.
Well, Coach, we appreciate having you in this area. Appreciate you being on this show. And I don't know what the Yellow Jackets football team looks like already, but I can tell you what, you're in mid-season form on the interviews. So you might have to temper it down to make it through the season. But we do hope to have you back with all these good, colorful quotes, and we certainly appreciate your time this evening.
Kevin, when you stay ready, you ain't got to get ready. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you. Well, you're ready.
Have a good one, man. When you're wearing Navy, you're as good as gold, brother. Go Jackets.
All right. Thank you, Coach. We'll be back with more here on Air with 912 Sports.
Gibson Animal Clinic is ready to help with your animals. From cats to dogs to horses, we treat them all. Calling us for grooming, bathing, boarding, and more serious things like surgery, dentistry, spay, neuter, immunizations, heartworm prevention, flea control, complete lab testing, radiology, preventive health care. Call us at 285-7678. Open Saturdays for your convenience. Gibson Animal Clinic. Practical solutions with reasonable fees. Russell J. Gibson, DVM.
Gibson Animal Clinic, 108 Riverside Drive, Waycross.
Hablamos español en nuestra clínica.
Well, that's going to wrap up Kevin and I's piece for this week. Appreciate everybody watching. Until next time, may all your check marks go in the win column. Good night, everybody.
At Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery, you don't have to be an athlete to get the region's best orthopedic care. Our board-certified orthopedic surgeons and physicians treat injuries and conditions that affect just about any joint or bone in your body. Plus, we're backed by the support of Southeast Georgia Health System. From fracture repair to joint replacement, Summit Sports Medicine and Orthopedic Surgery will get you moving again. Call 1-855-ASK-SGHS. That's 1-855-275-7447 or visit sghs.org/summit.
This has been a presentation of 912 Sports.